Today here on the podcast we are talking to Naomi Curry. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ashe.
So you're very passionate about inclusion. What does genuine inclusion mean to you?
I guess genuine inclusion for me is, accessing your community without having to, preempt what you might not be able to access in terms of just accessing, going into a building. You know, if I very often have to pre-plan things to make sure that building can be accessible and to know where, the disabled toilets are. So for me, I have to constantly plan everything that way when I'm going out and about in the community. So I feel like that's not inclusion as much, because I have to be thinking so much about how we access or where I can get access to something. I find this task is genuine inclusion, about getting our thoughts and experiences out there to educate the community. That can influence the community in a younger generation to make genuine inclusion options, I guess.
Is there a time that you actually felt real genuine inclusion in the process of something that's not, say, an afterthought?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what I was getting at. The afterthought of, oh, we should have done that, mate. You know, and it's a bit tiring because sometimes you don't know what you need.
Because you haven't been to that place.
Because I haven't been to that place, exactly, or if this is a totally new experience.
What do you think that companies or people can do to be more inclusive?
I think a workspace should have a culture of learning about disability in general, and I think you'll find there are people out there who have probably questions or curiosities about disability. Most of the people, I think, have not good intent. They do. I think they're just wanting to learn and know more. But some people, and I think you build up a bit of an instinct in that when someone asks you a question, like, it could be something, and I've had this asked before. I was shopping one day and this man come up to me and he's like, I'm a doctor. Is your medical diagnosis blah, blah, blah? Yeah, that's pretty much what he... And this was in Maya when I was shopping and I was a lot younger. And I said, well, no, it's not. That isn't my diagnosis and I'm not going to tell you. And I probably said it with a bit of attitude and I think at first it was just shock and that someone could ask something like that to me in such a public way, and there were people around me too. I think you build up, you start to learn when someone's just being nosy.
What do you think the health sector can do to improve inclusiveness?
I think it needs to start at education. So when they're at uni and they're studying their chosen profession, I think universities, the course curriculum people could really benefit from having people with lived experience of disability actually being a part of maybe the teaching side of things, like in some capacity or form. So, yeah, I think students actually listening to people with lived experiences of disability would be very beneficial to their education.
Thank you so much for coming in today to the podcast and sharing your experience with us and talk about inclusion, and hopefully we can start to get more inclusiveness for people with disabilities. Nothing about us without us.